Houston, we have liftoff. Take a look here. We are rolling. Hey, I'm Ron. I'm in a truck. That means it's my lunch break. Hi. Hope it's a happy Friday for you. Right now it's not snowing. Not too cold out. Not warm, but it's February. I've been through worse. Last year it was like 40 below with the wind chill. That was a rough day. But it's not like that, and it's Friday, and going to be going home soon. So I thought I'd talk about drugs, Jesus, and Zazen. What's that? Well, let me tell you. Zazen is Zen meditation where you let thoughts come and go, not eliciting thoughts, nor extinguishing thoughts, and letting all thoughts just kind of have their way and meander through until you reach enlightenment, though they say you can't reach it. Now, I was a Zen Buddhist for 20 years, studied with Zen masters, and know what I'm talking about. And so why am I throwing this in the mix? So it would be DMT, Zazen, Christian mysticism. And what I'm talking about today is just the change of heart. And because I've been listening to, I watch a lot of videos. And first off, I've seen some cool people in every one of these environments. So if you hate Christians, turn off the channel. Bye. And I am going to present a Christian perspective on this. So if you're expecting anything else, bye. So this is my Christian perspective. Kind and reasonable opinions are allowed, and unkind will be deleted, and bye. Now with that out of the way, the reason I'm talking about this so much is I've been DMT, Zazen, Christian mysticism. And what I mean by Christian mysticism doesn't mean you wrap tinfoil around your head and you talk to the dog or the dog talks to you and things get all bad. By the way, if any of it, animals ever start talking to you, just from a biblical perspective, run away. Because anyhow, we'll circle around Garden of Eden, the snake, forbidden fruit, doesn't end well. And then there's the son of Sam. That didn't end well either. I think it was a beagle. The beagle told him to go kill people. He's probably hanging out with the snake. So, Christian mystic to me is the word mysticism really has gotten abused. It's really just about knowing God's voice within your heart. And it is his spirit that comes in. What a lot of people don't get right is this: the cross doesn't indicate just how bad we were. It actually indicates how good what our value is, which is we're worth that much, his son. And not only is the cross just that payment, but it's actually a transporter. It is a whole crux in reverse. As much as what it is his death, Jesus, allows our life. Because what happens is that he overcame death, hell, and the grave, and ascended into heaven. And he goes, listen, I'm not going to leave you alone, because when I split, sending down my Holy Spirit, he comes into our hearts, and then we go, yay, I'm a beloved son and daughter of God. I'm happy because he's happy all the time. He's in me. We're in agreement, so we're just all happy together. That's it in a nutshell. And if I'm wrong, fine, I'll amend it later. But it is a mysterious relationship by which all human beings are made and invited into this relationship with God. Now, with DMT, you're meeting something. That's any hallucinogenic. You're going to go meet some sort of critter out there. And I'm not saying that you can't. What I'm saying is they don't have your best interest in mind. They'll lead you down a road for a while, but eventually it's a dead end. When you die, eventually you meet God. There's a whole sin debt, and then there's that if you're not with God, you're against him. All right, but what I'm getting, because I'm trying to figure out, okay, because I have some people that are like kind of Christian and kind of doing DMT, and I'm like, here's the deal. The cross is sufficient in and of itself to accomplish those things that DMT tries to get you towards, and it's and the cross and the relationship with God take you beyond DMT or any other hallucinogenic if you're willing to put in the work. Now, it's by faith and that you come to God and that there is no work and that you're just accepting the finished work of the cross. That's true. But are you willing to put down the stuff and receive Him in faith to go down that road till you do encounter Him? And that's where, if I said it was easy and like a light bulb switch, or dosing, or putting a little piece of paper, hitting some blotter, not like that. I don't understand why there's work involved. And by the way, it doesn't mean like the work is drudgery and it's like either you work or you don't get His reward. I look at it more like it's a travel. As much as you travel physically, there's things you do spiritually, and a lot of it you do on your own. No one gives it to you, and then no one can take it away. You do a dose, you eventually the trip ends, and you might have had some encounter, but the permanent experience of it, and usually for the most part what I'm seeing, is pretty damaging. Some people have some pretty good encounters, but even then you always have to do some ceremony. It's all right, in my parlance, it's a false revelation, in that you will never have the fulfillment you're looking for without stewarding either some drug into your life or rigid structure by which you keep this encounter. With me, 20 years ago, in the middle of a dirt field, I just said, "Hey, Jesus, if you're real, I need to know." And I pressed in. I didn't give up. I had an encounter 20 years ago. The love every day, still encounter it. It's changed, and He has developed me to be kinder, to be forgiving. And I live in a mean world. No, it's not as mean as everybody. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there who have it far worse than me, but I've changed so that even if someone's mean, I'm like, I don't respond in kind, or at least I hold back, and then my heart actually changes, loving towards them, so I can pray for those who spitefully use me. Ayahuasca, so the hallucinogenics, they might give you some revelation, but they won't give you love. They won't put you in a permanent encounter with this love. That's where Jesus is. That's what Jesus is. That's what He does. The Zazen deals, because I've never had the enlightenment encounter, which I believe is simply you are possessed by a spirit that is of Buddha, and there is an intellectual mind thing that occurs where you have no good or evil, no God, no not God. It's about causality and getting past that in karma. That's a whole other theology, and never do I hear about it transforming the heart. It's a mind thing. And I've been around Zen masters. Some, for the most part, they can be real kind, and every once in a while, there's some weird funkiness. They call it samadhi, where they'll manifest Buddha nature, and it looks like a dead man just right in front of you, just half dead eyes, and I'm like, I don't need any part of this. And what it is I think all people, actually I know this, all people are born knowing good and evil, desiring good but doing evil, and then it's through the cross that we get past the evil to get into the better, that we become the nature that we want. That is by His Spirit that comes into us, and that we take on His Spirit and understanding, and we become like Him. And so in Buddhism, I know a fellow named Thomas Merton used to practice with Buddhists, and I'm like, it is a theology diametrically opposed to Christianity, because Jesus said, "I'm the truth, the life, the way. I am the cause of all life." And to live, accept me is to live in life forever. That's Buddhist hell, because life isn't to be it's to be ejected from. It's to get escaped from. Not with Jesus. It's like, no, life is good with me, and with me in eternity, that's paradise. So those are the differences. So if you're thinking about doing DMT or Zazen, I don't mind contemplative practices, but you steward your mind. You govern what comes in and out, and you keep your mind and heart upon the Word of God, and let Him do a work in you, and that's cool. It might look like Zazen, but it's not. And as far as drugs go, the hallucinogenics, you are, the grace of God is going to be with you to protect you often, but you are looking to go down a dead end road. Don't want it for you. So, and there's one person who commented on the video, they don't want to like break through because they don't want to give themselves over to these entities. Good for you. That's smart. That's almost like a spiritual instinct. Dude, you're giving yourself up to something you don't even know. Like, you guys are talking to things, you don't know who they are. You don't know the end game. You've never had them come down and declare their, like, come on down, tell me what your end game is. Jesus did that. He was pretty clear. You're for me, there's good coming your way, and I'm going to help you. These DMT entities, so far what I'm seeing and hearing, and it's a diverse testimonies, there seems to be a unity of coming into a fullness of a singularity. But even then that disqualifies good and bad and life and death. So you're going to have problems on that. You're experiencing something. It's just that your experience is not going to bring you anything permanently happy. Sorry. Or at least at the end of this life, the next one's permanent, and I don't want you to be caught short. So that's a little quick difference between DMT, Zazen, Christian mysticism. All three will get you somewhere in an encounter. DMT psychologically and sometimes emotionally, but it's not permanent. Zazen is within Buddhism is an intellectual construct, and I have not heard of a major emotional transformation after these encounters, and it's theologically opposed to Christianity. There's plenty of Zen masters, nice guys, but they'll tell you the theology is pretty much endgame is the opposite of Christianity. And then Christian mysticism isn't crazy. It's not like you have to be uptight, and if you're not doing all right, you're going to get smoked. It's just the opposite. You come to Him in faith, and you give Him your heart, and then you it's like digging a ditch, one shovel load at a time. You just start getting to know Him. You pray. Prayer is your mind, will, heart, and emotions focusing on Him and asking Him into your life. And this is the cool thing. Once you make contact with Him, nobody can take it away from you, and it doesn't wear off. He grows within us, and we become like a tree, like little acorns grow into big oak trees. That's all of us. And it is in the fullness and likeness of God, who is love. And that's the one thing I see everybody craving, that maybe a lot of Christians don't present it well. Oh well. It doesn't mean that Jesus is wrong, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't try for it. And if you are going to have been doing DMT, and you're doing Zazen, well, start talking to Jesus more and tell him ask Him what He thinks about what you're doing. So with that, if you haven't started, don't. If you have been, start talking to Him, ask Him what He thinks. That's the end of my Friday rant. It's the longest one I've done. So, like Jesus, subscribe to Him, and we'll catch you next week.